Hey, everybody, excited you're with me. We got a good one. We got MLK today, bringing it, Machine of Life. I'm loving this book. This is amazing. You got to run out and get a copy. But before you run and get the copy, let's talk to the man himself, Mr. Sir Mike Lee Kanarek. We'll get into a lot of stories here. Sir, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on here. I'm very excited about this interview.
I know, I love it. I love it. We go back a long ways. This is a lifelong project. You've been talking about this for years. I'm so happy to see it come in. When they say your brother and your family and your friends aren't clapping for you, what do you say? Then they're not your friends. I'm celebrating this for you.
Well, thank you for the celebration. This book is a lifetime in making, a lifetime in making. For
Well, let's
many,
get it.
many,
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, this is your baby. I'm going to sit back and I love your stories. I love everything about you and what you're doing. Just fill us in. What do we got going on with the
well,
book?
the idea of a book started about 15 years ago when a lot of people kept saying, Sir, you have to write a biography. So, first of all, I said, I might do that. And then people would say, you got to write a biography. We can make a movie about your story, the blah, blah, blah. And I visited the idea of making a biography. And I guess at that time, I wasn't ready for it. And I never, Ash wants to be in the interview too. So I guess I wasn't ready for it. I wasn't ready to tell my story. And the format of a biography was not the answer. That's why I don't know why, but I kept pushing it away. No, I don't want another biography. I don't want another biography. And about a year ago, it clicked. I said, I got to do a book, and I'm going to make the book in this specific format. So here we go. If you get my book, it is not a biography. It is not a story. It is not a manual. It is not, this is how you do things. It is not instructional. It's all of it and none of it in one big mishmash. And when I say big mishmash is, I wrote this book for three reasons. Reason number one, and it might sound selfish and narcissist, I wrote it for me because I was ready for it. For many years, I wasn't ready for it. And the writing of this book was about, I want to say 10 to 11 months. It was very self healing. And it made me, because for many years, I didn't want to do a biography because I didn't want to revisit bad things that happened to me in the past. I'm the guy that tells everybody, seek light, seek light, seek light. And I just didn't want to revisit. I wasn't ready to revisit my past. But a year ago, I said, you know what, I'm ready. And so the first reason why I wrote the book was for me. So on some reason, if I would have sold one book to myself, I would have seen that as a success. If you and you know me, but other people that don't know me, I'm the guy who's never chased money. I've never chased money. I've always chased one thing and one thing only, and that's light, which is also connected to my legacy that I will leave behind. Okay, so to me, money was never what I'm chasing. So that's the first reason why I wrote the book for me. The second reason why, for people like you, for my Agana family, because the Agana family has been like a supportive system in my career. They're the one who take my classes. They're the one who believe in my teachings. They're the one who believe in my philosophies. And I wanted to give back to that Agana community. Well, like a lot of times you have students like like yourself. They come to me and I'm like, why is he so rough? Why is he so rude? Why is he so in your face? And then after a few months, like, well, he's got a nice side, and then you see that I have a system to my madness. So I wanted to put that system of the madness in a book. So all my Ghana students nationwide, if they're with me for 2 decades, if like yourself, if they're with me for 3 decades, like SAP, if they're with me for 1 decade, like other people, or if they're with me for 1 year, they're like, oh, now I get it. There is a system, and there's definitely a system. So the book explains my philosophy, how I connect the dots, this and that. So number two was for the Agana community. And number three was for my audience. Now, who do I consider my audience? People that are buying my knives in Japan, in South America, people that have bought my DVDs 20 years ago. I have a big following and a big audience that needs to know why do I do certain things a certain way. So that's the three reasons. Now, I'm very happy with the book on a self-realization level and on a, I want to say that, like I'm looking at the book, and I'm like, I did it. I freaking did it. I put my mind into 13 chapters, and I'm very happy with it. For my Agana community, I'm super happy because what I'm getting the most is while I read this book, I can hear Sir talking me the book. So I'm very happy about that. That's why the first book, the first 1,000 copies, if you look at your book, it says unedited. It says unedited. I did it on purpose because I wanted people to hear my voice while they read it for my Agana community. And to edit a book, as you and you know that, it's a matter of loading it in the program and they edit it. You don't even have to hire nobody. It's a program that you download the app. And but then what happens is they change the grammar, they do the spelling mistakes and everything. And I was afraid that it would lose my pizzazz for my people, for my Haganah people. So I wanted the first 1,000, and I'm getting there. As soon as I hit 1,000 books, then I'll download in the program to edit it, and the vast majority of the public will get it an edited version. So I'm very happy with it. The book is doing great. I'm getting a lot of great feedback, and there's definitely a system to the book.
Well, and there's a system to what you're doing, and I love it. And obviously, being a little bit of that involved in that is fun because I love it. I love to see your success. And the truth is, the way you're doing it is the way you should do it. Number one, being, we call that cathartic is the word. I always say when you write a book, you heal yourself. It is for you. It's cathartic, and it really makes a difference in your life. And it does. And the second thing is, yeah, that's the way you should write a book is unedited because it's your voice. And it's great because I always say, the great way publishing is today, in the future, you just clean up what you want to clean up and leave what you don't. And that's a beautiful thing as you're building. And you've always done that. And it's in the book. And I think that's what's important is like a business owner or somebody that's out there entrepreneurial or somebody that's pursuing their ways in life. I think a lot of your philosophy has helped me in my life. Number one, physically, it's been huge. I'm a machine now. Because of you, and I'm able to, get out at 55, going to run a, sub 25K just for the hell of it, and get my, what the foundation was from you. But the idea is it's not about perfection. That's the key thing. It's not about perfection. It's about you being you. And do you want to, I don't know if everybody knows you. So if you don't mind giving a little bit about who Mike Lee Kanarek is. I would love for you just to give it, I know it's in the book, but just a little bit of who you are, because I think where you came from and who you are is a big part of what the book is. And I think it's important we have that story out there.
1,000%. I started my life as a war orphan in Saigon, Vietnam, born to an American soldier and a local Vietnamese, a product of war, routed to a refugee camp and through an orphanage in Saigon for adoption in Belgium. I was adopted by a Jewish family in Belgium and grew up in Brussels until 10 years old. That probably gave me the foundation of my work ethics and the way I think. My parents raised me with nothing but love. At 10 years old, we moved to Israel. My father wanted to finish his life in Israel. He was part of the Haganah that fought for the independence of the war in Israel in 1948, and he always wanted to finish his life in Israel. So at the age of 10 years old, I moved to Israel. Everything changed. Everything changed from that moment. Up to 10 years old, I was raised in an aristocrat, well-to-do family. I don't want to say the word rich, but well-to-do family, aristocrat family in Brussels, living in one of the most luxury neighborhoods in Brussels. And there I am at 10 years old, thrown into the phenomena of the Middle East. Okay. That multiplied with my father no longer being a businessman. He went to work for the state of Israel because that was his dream for his whole life. So he no longer was a businessman. So we went from a social economic of this to normal, I won't say normal, but into regular And now I was also in a culture of, there's always a joke. People say I was raised by a bunch of wolves. So then I was raised in Israel from 10 years old until I joined the IDF at the age of 18. I did not have to join the IDF. I volunteered because I'm half Vietnamese, South American. I was not considered Jewish in the state of Israel. Therefore, it was not mandatory service for me. I volunteered. I ended up in one of the roughest special forces in the IDF. It's called Orev Golani. I fought 2 campaigns, one in Lebanon, one in the West Bank. After that, I left the IDF, I left Israel, and came to America. I came to America for martial arts, and basically the rest is history. I showed up to Florida off exit number 32 with $50 in my pocket, not knowing anybody but one friend, and I just kept rolling it entrepreneurial wise. And here I am today. I'm very successful, but I've never chased money. I've always chased light and legacy. So I think people who know me always say he's so successful because he's not a prisoner to the number of the money. He just wants his legacy out there, and then the success comes as a byproduct. So that's my general background. What I do is I teach civilians like yourself self-defense. I'm kind of semi-retired from that. I've taught every branch of military in America, especially the special forces, in all kinds of what I call specific objective courses. They brought me in for different missions. Sometimes soldiers that were about to get deployed in Afghanistan or overseas. Sometimes for things that are, I said that local and domestic in America. So that's a big part of what I do. I still do that if a unit truly needs me. In the last 3 years, I've been pushing out of the pipe my knives through Lotar Combat, through a collab with a brother of mine in Israel, and that has taken off like crazy during COVID, while everybody told me it was going to fail. But yet again, I did not chase the dollar, and it took off like crazy. And here I am. 11 months ago, I decided to write a book, and the book is out. And there's also very specific pants that are coming out called Defender. That's something that came out after the MSD shooting where I live in Parkland. So I'm very busy, and I love life. I just love life.
I love it. And with that, there's a couple things that, really stick with me over the years of getting to know you that I think go along with the book and why somebody should go out and buy the book and read your philosophies. And one of those, if you can talk a little bit about, there's 2 things that kind of go together. One is your respect for the people that you've worked with over the years, I think is really awesome. And the second thing is somebody as decorated as you are, Black Belt magazine covers and, have the fitness stuff that you've done and everything else. You always say, sometimes teacher, always student. And I think the respect you have for Joe Louis and his organization and the idea of, you're willing to be a student comes through in the book. And I think sometimes that ego gets in the way at a high level. And I know from a fact, just working with you, that that's not part of it. And I think that's why the book is so important, because you are a student a lot of times.
1000%. I always say, always a student, sometimes a teacher. Here's the deal. In Israel, we say in Hebrew, כל יום זה בית ספר. Every day is a school day. If you wasted a day without not learning something new or not repolishing something you've learned before, you wasted the day. I am a knowledge freak, and you know that. I explore outside of my comfort zone. Sometimes I do things that have nothing to do with what I do, just to learn new things. And in that process, I've met awesome people. I've met people that became mentors to me. I've met people that became propellers to me. I love learning. I love what the light of learning brings to your life. The more you know, the more you realize you don't know. The more you realize you don't know, the more you seek that light. I think if people wake up in the morning and say, it's a wonderful thing I woke up, let's just start seeking a light. And seeking light is not the sun. It's an analogy. You can find light in people. You can find light in knowledge. You can find light in going to the beach. You can find light in many things. And there's so much darkness in today's world, and so many people are missing out on the light of life. There is a lot of light in life, and people, and that's to me comes through learning. As long as you're learning, you're seeking light.
That's awesome. And it's something that I've always carried with me is that idea of seeking light. And just along those lines, we're in productivity, most of my audience, right? And one of the big things you always taught me is stick with something long enough. I remember when you went and learned Russian kettlebells, and you're like, I'm going to do it for 12 months, either way, whether it sucks or not. And I think, in technology specifically, a lot of people get an iPhone and then use it for 2 months and then switch to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And I think, again, philosophies from the book and your ideas, one of the things that was a big part of my life is stick with something long enough to see if it works or not.
1000%. Here's the deal with people, at least the way I see it. Me personally, I've done only one thing in my entire life, and it's fighting. I teach fighting. I'm a fighter teacher. I'm a teachers of fighting, and that's all I know. However, I went outside to learn other things as well, but I've never left my roots. There's a lot of people who start something, and as soon as an obstacle, I'm going to do something else. And they jump from one thing to the other. Stick to one thing and be the best at it. Be better than it than anybody else. Are there going to be people that are better than you? Absolutely. But if they jump off that track and you stayed on that track, guess what? Now you're better than them because they changed their route. Find, and I know it sounds cliche, but find what is your why. Find out what's your mission in life. Find out what's your passion in life, and just go and consistency. Once you are consistent, it's going to come. And I see too many people jumping from one thing to, that didn't work, I'm going to do that. That didn't work, I'm going to do that. No. Consistency. Stick to what you do. 1000%.
And it's awesome. And as always, I mean, it's just great wisdom. And I've been fortunate enough to be with you for a long time. So I get to hear a lot of the things. One thing I would ask you is somebody that's just picking up the book and saying, okay, this is awesome. I'd love to hear. How would you tell them to read this book? Is there a plan or a way to do this?
All right. Here's the book. The book, I designed this book like an armoire. Okay, like for an example, let me give you a little introduction to that. Let's say now you go to a building and that says armoire, and on the first floor there's like shitty armoires. It's $200 and you build it yourself. I don't want to get in trouble. But IKEA, like go to IKEA, right? And on the second floor there's armoire by Rooms to Go, and on the third floor there's more expensive and more this and that. But in the basement there is an armoire that's really special. That's what my book is about. So you look at this book and you cut it into an armoire. And most armoires have two doors that open in the top, and you have a couple shelves. And then you have all kinds of drawers, okay? So the book has 13 chapters. So I see this book as an armoire to wisdom for people to connect dots in their life to better their lives. So when you open the two back open the big doors, you have 3 shelves. The 3 shelves to me represent 3 chapters in my book. The first chapter in my book is called Machine of Life, and it is kind of a very, very short resume, biography, who I am, this and that. Okay, so that's the top shelf. You got to know who I am. Like you just asked me to tell your audience who I am. The second shelf is what I consider my best, or not my best, but the most important chapter in the book, and that's the Seek Light chapter. That's chapter 2. Chapter 1 is Machine of Life. Chapter 2 is Seek Light. Then the bottom of that armoire, the shelf, is the last chapter I wrote in the book, and it's fashion. If you look good, you got the look, you look good, okay? Why? Because those 3, the Seek Light to me is what this book is all about. This is where I talk about drainers and propellers and people that will ignite you and understand that there's going to be hardship in life and you need to build a team and the whole 9 yards seek light, including the sun and this and that. So it is the most important chapter. So that's the first one to read. The last chapter is the fashion chapter. It's my favorite chapter because I am a creator at heart, and you know that because you know me for 20 years. I am best when I create something. I love to create things. I have vision. I sometimes have a vision. People say that's never going to work. And when you tell Mike Lee Kanarek that's not going to work, I'm going to create something to make it freaking work. Okay, and I'm not using the F word. I said freaking. Okay, I'm keeping it clean. And then you have the drawers, and each drawer is one of those chapters. So how do you read this book? You have to, not you have to, but I suggest you read the book, the first 3 chapters in order. In order. First chapter is Machine of Light, gives you a little in on who I am. Second chapter is Seek Light, which is that's my philosophy. The third chapter is water and how you can transform water into a principle of entrepreneurial business. How you build a tree, and a tree is either growing or dying, and that's basically, if you understand the analogy, it's about business and entrepreneur. I'm a very stupid entrepreneur. I love a challenge. I love to conquer. It's in my blood. And finally, after you read those 3 chapters, you open any drawer you want. You open any drawer you want. So to me, I want this book to be that armoire that when you went down to the basement and you saw that armoire, it is an armoire that's magnificent. It's old, but it's new. It's like an antique, but when you touch it, it's hard because it's made the way it used to be. Like I don't have to tell you, products used to be built much stronger than today because they were built with pride versus they're built for production. So I'm looking at this book as the Mike Lee Kanarek armoire for understanding his mind. If you read the 3 chapters in order and then you just pick whatever chapter you want at the time and really digest it, you're going to have a blast with this book. It will take you into a trip that you probably would have never had with anybody else on the planet.
I love it. Well, and I'm excited for you. I'm excited about the book. I think it's, where the reception's been great so far and we're getting it out there. And it's interesting for me to watch the process of this, even go back to Las Vegas and the big conferences and everything all the way through to where we're at today. It's awesome. It's what life is all about. It's to be lived. Is there anything you want to leave everybody with? So to get the book, everybody can just go to Amazon. That's really simple.
There's a few people that keep asking me, how do I get an autograph book? You'll only get autograph books when you see me in person. The first event is here this weekend, the Momentum event at my school. That's the first signing up autograph event. There's another one in Pennsylvania in June that you can come. It's at HVH. And I'm also going to be at Karate College. But the easiest way to get my book is on Amazon. You go to Amazon, click Mike Lee Kanarek, Machine of Life, and it's right there. It is a book, I believe in my book. If not, I would have never released it. It's a book that's going to take you for a ride that is going to be so different than what you used to, but you're going to go, wow, that makes sense. I do that, but he does it in a different way. Wow, I'm going to try that different way. And it goes back to the learning experience that you said a few minutes ago. You have to learn. If you don't learn, you die. Learn, seek light. If I leave anything with you people of MorningCoach, I love the MorningCoach people. I've done a few events with you. Those are people that are motivated to learn new things. There are people that are looking at things in a progressive way and with an open mind. This book will make you laugh at sometimes. Some people told me they shed tears because there's a few stories in the books that are not that happy, but it's my journey in life, and it's going to bring you light. I believe it's going to be the best coffee table book you'll have in a long time.
Love it. Well, and I know everybody's going to love the book, and you need to run out and get it, right? That's the first thing. The second thing, and I know they're going to ask, where do you want people to find you? I know you're kind of semi-retired. This is a bad. I know you don't want me to talk about that, but I do know you've got some public things coming up. There are some public things.
So here's the thing. I constantly hide from the public, and you know that because it's connected to my battery. I am a giver by nature, and you know that when you came to be my student. And a lot of times, if you don't realize, Mike Lee Kanarek is a battery of himself too. So I can only give to so many people. And it sounds arrogant, but I can only give of myself to so many people. My local students in Florida are very fortunate that they still get me to teach regular classes because I believe the day I stop teaching is the day I'm going to start dying. So I keep a small community of my loyal students, the students youth trained with for years, Donut Boy, Bogart, all these people. I travel and do events. You're going to find me at Karate College in June. That's for the martial art community. If you want to find me there, I'm going to be there signing books. I'm doing this event here. I'm doing this event there. It's just the easiest to find me. Go on Facebook. You'll see my daily craziness. It's not PG-13. I'm just warning you. It's not PG-13. You'll find my daily craziness. You'll find that I have a system that is so consistent and simple that sometimes people forget how life is simple. So my Facebook, you can see my daily activities. You can see what I do. You can see my people that are around me. Warrior Strength in South Florida is an event place right now and only open to not open to the public, only to private students and to events. So just look at my Facebook, see when there's events. If there's events that you can come, I'd love to see you. I'd love to meet you in person. There are people that are re-seeing. I have a huge following in the martial arts community for 30 years. I have a following of your people that sometimes seek me out. So just go to my Facebook, see my daily activities, see the announcements, and that's the easiest way.
I love it. Well, love you, sir, as always. I appreciate you being here. It's been great. I love the fact that the book's out. That's a great thing. So
I love it. And
everybody,
I want to say thank you to you. You've been instrumental in it. People don't know that. I came to JB a few months ago panicking, like how do I save the chapters I'm going to lose? And I was walking around with my laptop, and he goes, "Sir, it's very simple. You click this button." I go, "It's easy for you, Morning Coach, not easy for me, Israeli Commando." So thank you for your help with that. And
I remember when you got that, Mac. I remember I got to go pick it up at
you don't want to send me down to get it. Yes, during COVID.
during COVID.
Well, thank you again for inviting me to the community of Morning Coach. They are a great bunch of people. I love you guys.
Love you guys. Love everybody. Talk to everybody later. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.